The business model canvas uses lean startup philosophy to help you determine who to target, what value proposition to emphasize, how to deliver, support, and make money on your offering. Do Good also supports a version for organizations not looking to turn a profit called the Mission Model Canvas. In short, Lean Startup's philosophy is an iterative build, measure, learn cycle. Each time you build something, you do the least possible to test whether that specific tactic will work. To determine whether it worked, you set metrics for success and measure the results. If it doesn't work, you try something else as soon as possible. By doing this, you minimize the amount you spend to develop a working business, systematically mitigate risk, and find success. It has been used by top startups, enterprises, and the most sophisticated nonprofits and foundations. Companies including GE, Intuit, Qualcomm, and Toyota have used Lean Startup to vet and refine their ideas into functional businesses. J.R. Immelt, CEO of GE, explains some of the benefits of Lean Startup by saying, "I've got to tell you, the speed, one of the biggest benefits with that processing, the speed with which it comes, is that you get to know faster too. So you're not 2/3 through a multi-year product where you've invested 100 million, 150 million, and the team's version of success is completion, when we ought to be moving on to the next idea. So I think this is a really big deal." Do Good's business model canvas provides a structure to map out each category of assumptions. Start by identifying a target customer or beneficiary, as it is called in the mission model canvas, then test your value proposition. Do Good provides Mad Libs for each of the steps in filling out the business model canvas and prompts that explain the purpose of each of these steps. After you complete a Mad Lib, you rate your level of uncertainty with that assumption and its importance. The combination of the importance of the assumption and your uncertainty are what make up the risk associated with that assumption. Once you have filled out a Mad Lib for your first beneficiary or customer segment, you can select to create another canvas for a different beneficiary/customer or to fill out the canvas for your first segment. You do this by clicking one of the blue buttons below the risk scoring section. If you select to fill out the business model canvas for the first segment, you can then look under the steps column and select the section of the canvas you would like to fill out next. When using the business model canvas, it is best to start with the right-hand side of the canvas. The next section to fill out is the value proposition section. Then, state your assumptions around your channels and customer relations. After stating your assumptions on the canvas, you should begin testing them. The riskiest assumptions are the ones that should be tested first. To do this, click on an assumption. This will take you to a Kanban chart where you and your funders can monitor your progress in testing your assumptions. On the left-hand side of the Kanban chart, there is a sidebar that will help you track your progress. Each assumption can have multiple hypotheses to test the assumptions, and each hypothesis can have multiple experiments to validate or invalidate the assumptions. A hypothesis is an if-then statement. It is best for this statement to be very specific. It should specify all of the relevant who, what, when, where information, and should include a measurable component. For instance, if John eats 3 pizzas in 30 minutes, then he will throw up at least 2 times in the next 4 hours. For this hypothesis, you could run an experiment. 1. Title your experiment. 2. Define a success metric. 3. Specify the type of experiment. 4. Create a task list for people involved. 5. Specify an owner for the overall experiment process. 6. Set the status of the experiment. 7. Assign a due date to the experiment. 8. And, when you finish running your experiment, document the key insights you gained from running it. Once you complete the work to test the hypotheses for a given assumption, you move that assumption from in progress to done. At that point, the following steps need to be taken. 1. Determine whether the assumption has been validated or invalidated. 2. Decide whether you want your assumption testing to be made public so others can benefit from your testing, or keep it private to your organization. 3. Select whether your team should persevere with its current course of action or pivot. This process is done with each assumption you want to test. As you do this, your team and your funders can follow your progress on these experiments by viewing your timeline, or tracking the progress of multiple projects through charts on your dashboard. Good luck with your strategy and do good!